Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Williamson County Coaches Preview Show. I'm Jack Daniels, your host, and with me for tonight's game are the head football coaches at Summit High School, Coach Scot Keasler, and the head football coach at Franklin High School, Coach Donnie Webb. Welcome, Kyle.
Thank you.
Glad to be here. Let's start with you, Coach Keasler. It's been a while since you've been here. It kind of catches up to where you guys are. How y'all been doing this year?
Well, we definitely wish we'd have been doing better at this point, but it is what it is, so to say. But the kids are still working hard. We won that first football game. I'm not sure we've played a complete football game since then, but it's not from lack of effort, not from lack of will or desire by the kids or coaches in any way. It's just kind of how things have worked out. But we're still, they're still coming to practice, and we're still working as hard as we can. You're going to have rough times in life, just like you are on a football field. And I've told them many times, you just got to dust off, come back to work, try to get better.
Well, let's talk about last Friday night's game against Dixon County. Can you kind of give us a quarter-by-quarter play there?
Well, they came out that first drive and jumped on us pretty quick. They blocked us all night. And we had some trouble. We made some changes for different reasons during the week, letting some kids play that have been dedicated to us throughout the season and been there, religiously pretty much at practice. And I just felt like they came out, they blocked us, they hit us in the mouth. We did not respond. We came out a little bit of higher tempo offense, but we're unable, just kind of the theme of the year, unable to put anything together consistently. Even when we have a drive, it seems like we can't finish them. Just getting points on the scoreboard has been difficult. And over the last, I had been very pleased defensively up until the last couple of weeks. I just, I felt like at times we're misaligned, busting coverages, not tackling well, things that have not been, we haven't been like that all year, but over the last couple of weeks, we've had a little more difficulty with those things. And, it falls back on me, and so we went back, and first thing we did on Monday was tackle, and try to get things back together as a team.
I haven't seen Dixon County this year, but they used to be back when we used to line up against them, an old two tight ends and a triple stack, smokestack eye, and just pound you. Is that their mentality
They
now?
ran more of a wing eye look, and then went to more of a similar wing T look, but it was a bunch of power. It was a bunch of running, and that they're gonna come off and hit you in the mouth. That's what they were gonna do, and they had success with it.
Well, Coach Webb, you were our game of the week last week, so kind of bring us up to date from how it went Friday night for you guys.
We did have a good night. It was very electric in the stadium, playing Brentwood, of course, big rival game, and we talked about all that last week, and we were able to. It was really almost went back and forth. The game did. We were able to we got fortunate. We blocked a punt, and then scored on the very next play after that. But Brentwood answered. They moved the ball well all night long. Felt like we did too as well. But they really did answered. We got a field goal. Joe DeFada kicked a 33-yard field goal, got us 10-7, and then we let Brentwood move it down and score right before the half. And so we were down 14-10. Offensively, we answered, got it to 17-14. Then Brentwood got it 21-14 with, I think, 2:30, 2:40 on the clock. I think it was, and I was really proud. Now it was big plays, but it was still the offense did go out there and execute. We had to score, could not play for a field goal, and we did. We came up with two big plays in the passing game, and then we scored 24-21, and then huge kicking game. We stopped them inside the 10, so they essentially had to use all their timeouts and essentially ran out of time.
Right. Well, we'll talk about our television crew does a play of the week, and this week it was actually at a 14-10 point of the game, and then they threw a little screen pass to number 23, Colton Black, and we're going to let our viewers see that play right now.
So here comes Critchlow, man. I wouldn't be surprised to see some play action right here.
I-form formation, and there you said it. And to backside to Black. That's a good way to get him involved in it. Does a great job of making a couple of guys miss. Picks up a big block downfield. He's off to the races. I don't think 45 is going to catch him. And he walks into the end zone. Great job by Critchlow. You called it play action, hit him on the backside. He takes it all the way down to the sideline, cuts the backfield with a nice blocking touchdown.
61 yards. It wasn't long, but it was effective. And that is going to give Franklin the lead.
Now, you talked about it, trying to get Black involved in the game. So the running game wasn't making it happen. You got to get the ball in your playmakers' hands, and that's a great way to do it.
And the defensive end was coming hard, 24, and he was totally fooled as everybody else was out in front, and Colton Black does the rest.
Well, you know, you got to think that Coach Donnie Webb, they've been seeing all night both those defensive ends just gunning downfield. They took advantage of it, and Black got some nice blocking, does a great job of running, and he takes that thing to the house.
Let's talk about that play in particular, Coach. Coach Winfrey calls your offense, and how just go about setting up that play for us.
They had been getting into a little bit of a different front look when we gave them a certain formation, and kind of like something we normally power out of and run the football or run the boot. And they were bringing pressure when we were running the boot. Some of it was we had to fix some blocking assignments, and others was just Brentwood, playing hard, making good plays. And he called the screen off of the boot to the backside, and Colton got a block of about 10. He made the first guy miss, and then he got a block about 10 yards down from there, and then the rest he cut it back, and it was chaos. But it was a good call, and like I said, they were bringing pressure, and the kids made the play, and it was obviously a big play for us.
Yeah, I think the play went for about 61 yards. And,
yes, sir.
And of course, he had looks like a good leading going all the way into the end zone on that play with 2 or 3 other Franklin players there in front of him. Well, anytime you play Brentwood, it's a huge rivalry, and coming out of that game 6-0, you got to feel good about your place in the district right now.
Oh, without a doubt. We continually just harp on him. We started from the get-go, each week. We can go 1-0 this week, go 1-0, go 1-0. But, get to a point to where you want to make qualify for the playoffs, which is different,
Right.
Before we talked about it last week, where you could kind of say, okay, well, you're at least here to qualify, because you really don't know unless you get first or second. And then from there, look to, let's get a home playoff game by winning a district. And the only way you can do that is play each week and just keep working. Really proud of it. We've been fortunate. We did have the big injury to one of the receivers, but we felt like Parker Pinnell is playing the receiver, has stepped up at that position, and we've been fortunate. The injury bug has not,
Sure.
jumped on our back, and so basically we just got to continue to keep working and try to get better and give ourselves a chance.
Mm-hmm. Well, Scott, since tonight's game is a Thursday night game, how much has that changed what you've done this week as far as preparation?
I hadn't changed a whole lot. Made Monday a little bit longer. Obviously Tuesday was a normal Tuesday practice, and then made Wednesday a little bit longer. We didn't go and beat ourselves to death or anything Wednesday, but we did have extended play rep, and got some special teams things accomplished Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Donnie, did you bring the kids in over the weekend since it's a Thursday night game, or did you change anything up? Or
No, we did not. We actually played a Thursday with Dixon County in week 2, and we actually used the exact same schedule, very similar to what Scott said. It was a little bit longer on Monday. We had to work around the JV freshman game, but then Wednesday become a little bit more team-oriented, longer than it normally would be, with us not having with us playing on Thursday tonight.
Mm-hmm. Usually on a Thursday practice, it's kind of like a walkthrough type practice. Is there any other things that specially have been going on during the season on a Thursday night? I mean, is there a time the coaches get together, the players, seniors get together? Y'all do anything kind of like that, Don?
Our booster club feeds our kids on Thursday after practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously that's not happening tonight, but so that that's what we normally do, and for the most part, I tell our coaches, to go home. It's not to be around the kids, but you got family that we keep them away from all the time, and so now with middle school finishing up, you know, because most time we're running to a middle school game and then dragging our kids there and then try to get home. And now with it going over, a little bit of time to get home, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you mentioned the middle school season is already over, but how important is it for you and your staff to be seen at these middle school games?
Oh, without a doubt, it's huge. I don't think any schools have any. Williamson County Schools sells itself. You know, it's great. I mean, that's where I want my kids to go to high school, but I don't think any school goes through what we got with the amount of private schools that are around us compared to other areas in the state. And you know, private schools with good athletics, with good educations, and so I think it is imperative that, you know, that we are seen. I hate to use the R word with 8th graders because that's sad that it's the world has turned to that. But I mean, it's you want to know, you know, Franklin is a community. The school is part of that community. We want you to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Now you have what? 2 different feeder schools that come to you. Freedom, some of the kids from Freedom. Very few for kids.
Very few from Freedom. A large percentage from Grassland, and I still think like last year I had 1 from Hillsborough, and I think that's about changed where it used to be all 3, but I think it's almost moved now where it's numbers.
Scott, you're a little bit different situation. You've got a middle school almost on your campus down there that uses your facility sometimes.
Yes, sir. It makes it easy to go watch. You know, when you stick your head out the door, pretty much.
Right.
You know, last year my daughter cheered, so I was at everything, no matter where it was located. But they're right over the hill. You know, we actually the first year, our practice field we used was basically on Spring Station's campus. So we've worked real close. Coach Spann, of course, is with us on Friday nights in the booth. And have worked real hard to build a relationship with them. They've had some success over the past couple of years, so the future's bright.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about a scouting report, Scott, on Franklin. Kind of break down what you see about Franklin for tonight's game.
Very well coached, very talented, and very consistent. They don't beat themselves. Very balanced offensively. Quarterback's a player, running back's a player. You know, overall, just a very physical group of kids. Very physical group of kids.
And as far as defensively, they bringing pressure to you, you think, or they going to kind of?
I hope he doesn't. He's going to answer that. Coach Webb has always done a good job defensively. I know he's going to have a good game plan one way or another. But one thing I always have noticed about teams he's coached is fundamentally sound. And when you're fundamentally sound, you don't necessarily always have to do a lot of extra things. You just beat people with fundamentals. Of course, everyone has pressure packages and different coverages, but you know, they're gonna be hard to deal with. Very hard to deal with up front, and we realize that. And they got 2 pretty good some linebackers that can play football too. So we got our work cut out for us.
Okay, Coach, give us a scout report on Summit.
Same thing. I remember Scott from Rutherford County days as well, and so I'll start defensively, and they're in that 4-2-5, and going to be sound. You know, going to be lined up, going to bring pressure. Have not seen as much as what we've seen from in the past. You know, just looking at it, a lot of times, what most people don't know is with coaches is we have philosophies and what we want to do, and it's what can them kids do, and what's best for those kids, and that's absolutely what they're doing. I really like what they're doing offensively, because we do like to bring pressure. The fact that you've got to account for the quarterback in everything that you do, it changes the way we want to bring pressure. You know, because we got to be sound with when we're bringing it. They mix in the zone with. Almost with a little bit of veer look with their quarterback as well, and then he's going to run the ISOs and the powers. If you're bringing pressure and they slice it, you know, he can go. He number 4 is a really talented football player, and obviously a lot does revolve around him, but he does have a lot of weapons around him that can make him be better.
Well, I know tonight's game is probably the oldest school in the county versus the youngest school in the county. I read on Coach T, one of the guys said that Franklin's 100 years old and Summit's 3 years old. They're meeting tonight for the first time to begin their rivalry as far as football goes and all the different sports that we do play. But Scott, you want to mention some kids' names and what year they're in and positions they play of kids who have been playing pretty good for you throughout the year?
We've had different kids make plays at different times. Obviously, most consistent is D. Hunter, our quarterback, who will also put a tailback and do some things with him there. He's a running back, but our best option right now, quarterback. And like Coach said, if he's going to touch the ball every single play, you have to account for him every single play. Up front, Drew Merritt has been our most consistent offensive lineman. He's always going to do his job to the best of his ability, and he's always in the right spot, it seems. Defensively, like I said, over the last 2 weeks, we haven't played as well, but the kids are playing hard. Say Hunter Hayes, who is a senior linebacker, he's been playing pretty well, pretty consistent, pretty steady for us. Steven Schreiner, who's a senior strong safety, he's also always been steady. He's been starting since I got here. But we've had several freshmen have to play off of what was a pretty good team last year, but when you put them in the game and you look at them compared to older kids, their bodies aren't ready. But that we've kind of been in a position that's what we need.
Sure.
And have to go with. That Jake Keasler and Jackson Welsh, who actually tore his finger up last week, and I'm not sure we're going to have him tonight, but Tommy Smith is another kid, but several freshmen that have just stepped in and given us all they can give us, and we really appreciate that, and I've been very impressed, and as I've said, the future for those kids is bright.
Well, since you brought up some freshmen, how's your freshman team and JV team been doing over the last few weeks?
I don't know if we have actually 2 teams left, to be honest with
really?
you. We just kind of beat up and have had to move some kids up.
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad, competitive. I think we had one that we just, I guess, laid an egg freshman-wise. But other than that, I think we're 3-2. And have been competitive. JV guys, they've been competitive. And the toughest thing, really, because of our lack of numbers, is a lot of those JV kids are having to provide depth. Flip around on Friday and provide depth, and that puts a lot on them and on their bodies and wear and tear. But they've gotten through it. And like I said, they're going to have some success. Definitely looking down the road to have some success with those kids. They deserve it.
Donnie, how about some kids there for Franklin? Plus, let's talk about your kicking game a little bit. As long as I've been here 17 years, you guys always got a kicker.
It really has.
Yeah.
It really has. And it has been, without a doubt, we've played well at times, but our kicking game truly is one of the main reasons that we are what we are right at this point. Corey Fatoni, our punter, changes field position every Friday night, and we hope to continue that tonight. And I'm playing on Thursday, but Joe DeFada is both of them. Now I can't always say that in this county because several schools have really good kickers, but I still believe that either one of them could start at anybody. I know they'd start for anybody that we've played so far, and for most teams around the state. And kind of what we do with them is Joe DeFada is senior, and you notice him in the stats. He's our short field goal kicker. He can kick the longer ones, but we just used him practice-wise, and so we do it in the game-wise. He does the short and the extra points, obviously, and then Corey does our punting, kickoffs, and long field goals. Because against Dixon County, he had a 47-yarder. Can't say enough about those two young men, and really, most people you don't know about David. Man, my mind went blank. Can you believe this?
That happens to me all the time.
He's my favorite. Can you believe this? Oh, no, gosh almighty, our long snapper.
I was going to ask you.
David White. You see, I was sitting there going, and I'm throwing him in with them. They practice together, and we have a coach that comes out and works with them just a little bit of time.
I was going to ask you who works with long snappers when you're studying.
Well, actually, long snappers, Andrew Thomason did it in high school and actually did a little bit in college with it, and he's really, really good at it. And helps those kids a lot. But I apologize for getting Dave's name because I don't forget it on Friday night. We put him in a JV game last year playing linebacker, and he bummed up a finger, and I said, you don't play anything anymore but long snap, because he can be really, really special at that also. You know, the one kid, when you asked, that comes to my mind I want to name is someone you wouldn't even think, is Zach Slessman. Right now we're going through some sickness on our football team, and he started at middle linebacker last week because Tyler played most of the game, but then we had to pull him out for almost hydration. He was fighting a little bit of flu-like symptoms, and but Zach started the game, and we kind of took him out, and then after we're watching the film, what did we ever take him out for? And you know, he really, really had a good game, and because of that, we're going to see him get more playing time. So we're excited, so we can maybe get a little depth at linebacker because we've essentially played the three in there, and been fortunate that all three of them have played every game up until then.
Right. Now you're kind of a senior football team on the defensive side, right?
Yes, 8 starters on defense are seniors, and so we talked about last week. It's, I can see a difference in play.
Right.
Some of them are in different positions, obviously, but you can see a difference in play just because of experience. They were all out there learning a new defense last year, and then no playing experience. So I think that's without a doubt. The 3 younger ones is the corner, and he had the interception at the end of the game. Gracia Katera, Josh Philby, and Booth Page everybody else is a senior that's out there right now.
Scott, how many seniors will you have starting tonight?
Well, we've got about 8 left from that first year of sophomores, and they'll all be starting for us in one position or another, probably, and several of them both ways. So.
Well, that's another question. How many players do you have going both ways, Donnie?
Actual playing, it's about 3.
About 3.
Yeah.
And you don't start them; you just kind of the backups, or do
and we've got like 6 kids that flip-flop during the game. You'll see them, and then they flip during practice. But like, it depends on how the game's going. Like Ben Hageman, we think's a really good defensive lineman, and he plays tight end for us. But we don't it depends on how the game's going, how much defense he actually plays.
Okay. Well, we'll get off tonight's game and talk about some things in general, and just kind of get your first impressions or thoughts on a few comments. All right, and I'll start with you, Scott. South Carolina defensive end Clowney. When he comes to mind, what do you think about him?
Oh, he's fast, and he gets to the football. He's a tremendous athlete. I remember watching that first game. I remember who they played. They were on TV. Was it North Carolina? And they had to put 2 people on him the whole night. And he didn't have the stats, but he's occupying another blocker.
Right.
Of course, there's all the stuff in the paper this week about he tells them right before kickoff that he can't play. I don't know how you handle that situation. I think, Spurrier's kind of backtracking on his original comment that basically he chose not to play, and now you're hearing that he was actually injured and hurt. I think it's kind of taking care of the superstar a little bit, and that's why the backtracking's going on. But I tell you what, he's fun to watch on Saturdays.
Right. And I agree with you. I've heard both Spurrier statements at the game and then now this week he's come in with, talking about how much
somebody might have tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Go fix this."
Yeah, he had a piece of paper with him as he's reading there all the different things I think Clowney has done for him over the last few years. All right, here's one for you. Denver Broncos Manning.
The first thing that comes to my mind is when I was at BGA. C.J. Beathard was our quarterback. His grandfather was the Beathard that was out at San Diego when he took Ryan Leaf. That's the first thing that pops in my mind, and he always laughs about that. But everything you know about the Mannings, all of them, but especially Peyton, what you read about him and watch on TV, just the work he does long before he ever gets to the game, and obviously a good football player still.
Did you get to see the Book of Manning?
I have not. I still got a DVR. All the I feel like I have because everybody's told me. All the kids at school have told me about it.
It was a great show. Scott, Oregon.
Well, I wouldn't want to coach against them defensively. I don't know how you'd even prepare for them. They get those plays run so fast. I mean, it's just as soon as they have a 50-yarder, they're just lining right back up on the ball and snapping it again. This might be the year, I hate to say it to all the SEC fans because I am also an SEC fan, but that they can actually contend, I think, with the Alabamas, LSUs of the world, because they're also extremely talented. You know, they have 90 different uniform combinations. Kids like those things, and I think that kind of, believe it or not, those things and their facilities brand new, that recruits kids in itself.
Sure.
But this may be their best team, and I watch a lot of college football, but they are electrical, man. It's something. And they have a shot. I would say they'll be in the national championship game.
Since you brought up uniforms, what do you think about Tennessee's this past Saturday against Georgia?
Maybe if they went with a gray helmet, that might have helped.
Charcoal helmet with black would have been better. Donnie, Whitehaven, Maryville.
Gosh. Maryville.
You got the far east and you got the far west there.
Obviously, don't know anything about either one of them except for consistency.
Yeah, they've been there the last 2 years together, going against each other.
That part, I would say, and then from watching them, it was very athletic. Whitehaven was. Gosh, Maryville, just consistently there, consistently keep it going.
And they've got a good setup in which they're a city school inside the county, and
yes, sir.
I've talked about they've got the best scenarios probably about anybody.
It's pretty cheap to get zoning in there, too.
I think it is also. Well, fellas, best of luck tonight. Hope you guys stay healthy. Thanks for being on the show, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for joining us. And tonight's game at 7 o'clock at Summit High School. Franklin travels to Summit. I'm Jack Daniels, your host.
Riding your bike is great exercise and a fun way to go places. To stay safe on the road, remember a few simple tips. Always wear your helmet. Helmets are required by Tennessee law for cyclists under the age of 16. Check your equipment. Make sure your tires are inflated properly, your brakes work, and your chain is working smoothly. Be visible. Wear bright colors, and at night wear something reflective. Just because you can see a driver doesn't mean that he can see you.
I don't know that I would call it natural, but I do think that there is some conflict between motorists and cyclists on the roadways, and I think it goes that most people are not aware of what the rules are that pertain to both. State law says that cyclists have as much right to the roadway as a car does, but it also states that they must follow the same rules as a car does. That means bikes are supposed to stop at stop signs. They must stop at red lights. They don't have to necessarily obey the speed limit laws, but they do have to be respectful of other traffic and make sure that they're following the same roadway rules as a car does.
Stay alert. Watch out for potholes, cracks, or anything that could make you lose control of your bicycle. You need your ears to hear traffic, so don't listen to music or use your cell phone while cycling. Be predictable. Try to ride in a straight line and use hand signals to communicate your moves to others. Stay safe, and most of all, enjoy the ride.
I am the river and I flow.
This river has been a big part of my life. Luckily, it's still clean. But things we do every day pollute our streams. So it's up to all of us to stop pollution by fixing leaky cars, not littering, and using lawn chemicals wisely. If you don't want to see it in the river, don't let it go down the storm drain. It's easy to help. Find out how at TennesseeWaterworks.com.